Have you ever noticed how you can share stories about yourself without ever letting people truly know you? You answer questions, you smile, you stay helpful, but somehow the most important parts of you remain hidden. Why would your own mind protect something that desperately wants connection? The answer isn't what most people think. Avoiding vulnerability rarely feels dramatic. It hides inside ordinary moments. You rewrite a message 3 times before sending it. You laugh instead of admitting you're hurt. You change your opinion because disagreement feels strangely dangerous. Slowly, you begin performing a version of yourself that's easier to accept, not because it's who you are, but because it feels safer. Over time, this becomes exhausting. You start wondering why people like you, yet somehow never seem to truly know you. Psychologists describe this as a protective strategy. When past experiences teach your brain that authenticity can lead to rejection, criticism, or embarrassment, it begins predicting those outcomes long before they happen. And eventually, hiding no longer feels like a choice. It feels like your personality. But that assumption hides something important. You aren't avoiding being seen because you're weak. You're avoiding being seen because your brain learned that visibility once carried a cost. Every protective habit begins as an adaptation. A child who was judged learns to stay quiet. Someone ignored learns not to ask for help. Someone criticized learns to become easy. The problem is that adaptations often survive long after the danger disappears. The alarm keeps ringing even after the fire is gone. So if hiding feels automatic, it isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that your nervous system remembers. Which raises another question. How does memory quietly shape who you become? Your brain works less like a camera and more like a prediction machine. Instead of asking, what is happening? It constantly asks, what is most likely to happen next? If previous vulnerability ended in pain, the brain updates its internal model. This is called predictive processing. Imagine your mind as a theater director. The script says, if they see the real me, they'll reject me. So before the scene even begins, the director changes your lines. You stay quiet, you joke, you hide. The performance feels natural because the prediction comes before the experience. The brain isn't chasing truth, it's chasing familiarity. And familiar pain often feels safer than unfamiliar uncertainty. The goal isn't forcing yourself to reveal everything. It's teaching your brain that being seen can become safe again. First, notice the moment you start performing. Pause and ask, what am I protecting right now? Naming the emotion activates parts of the prefrontal cortex that reduce emotional reactivity. For example, before changing your opinion in a conversation, silently notice your urge to fit in. Second, practice tiny acts of honesty. Behavioral psychology shows that gradual exposure changes fear more effectively than overwhelming yourself. Instead of sharing your deepest secret, admit you're nervous before a meeting. Your brain collects evidence that honesty doesn't always create danger. Third, separate prediction from reality. Ask yourself, what evidence do I actually have? This interrupts our automatic threat predictions. Maybe your friend hasn't rejected you. Maybe you've simply imagined the ending. Finally, build relationships that reward authenticity. Safe experiences reshape the brain through neuroplasticity. Each accepting conversation becomes a small update to your internal map. Think of your mind as a lighthouse. Its purpose is to warn you of danger, not to convince you that every wave is a storm. Your fear of being seen isn't your identity. It's an old map trying to guide you through a landscape that has already changed. The map deserves understanding, but it doesn't have to choose your direction forever. Perhaps the person you've been protecting is also the person you've been searching for. Healing doesn't begin when everyone accepts you. It begins when your own nervous system slowly realizes that the real you no longer has to live in hiding.